Welcome back to the next episode of Katawa Shoujo, Tongue-Tied, from March 26th, 2 months ago, where we can refuse or comfort Misha. Who knows what happens when we comfort Misha? We only had this one choice throughout the entire route of Shizune, which I thought was pretty interesting. So maybe this is like an unlockable route where we get other choices. I don't know. Maybe this is just straight up a bad ending like the other ones are, like directly after. Maybe it's like Rin's where the bad ending takes the like as long as the normal ending. So let's see. Please comfort me, Hichan, just for today. Hold on, let's get some context. Yeah, her head is buried in my chest, and it feels like she's talking into my scar. She might be able to feel it brushing against her cheek. I've tried too hard to hide it from both of them before. It seems like such a dumb thing to have worried about in retrospect. Shizune also never mentioned our scar, which I thought was kind of funny. Please comfort me, Hichan, just for today. As much as I pretend to protest, I've allowed things to come to this point. Even though I knew so far ahead of when she actually came out with it that this was what she was getting at. At the very least, I was okay with this outcome. If I needed any more proof, it's simple. I still haven't turned her away. I could have at any point, and it was wrong for me not to do it sooner, but now, not doing so is something beyond simple carelessness. Misha takes my silence as agreement and squeezes herself against me tightly, as if she is trying to get into my clothes. Her arms enveloped by the softness of her skin and the warmth of her body, I roll on reflex and end up on top of her. Damn, are we just fucking? That's crazy. Especially now that we know that she was in love with Shizune. I wonder if she still is. If she's like trying to get us to like cheat on her or something. We still don't know her intent. Or if she's actually just into us. She didn't seem like it after this on the other route, but okay. She looks at me as if expecting me to take the lead, and closes her eyes nervously the second I return her gaze. I guess I have no choice. I clumsily begin trying to undress her, something I've never done before. Oh, okay. Jeez, this is crazy. After all, I've only had sex once before? Oh, that's right. We did have sex with Shizune already. Damn. We only had sex once before, and I was restrained to a chair. This time, I'm in control, like I'd wished then. But it's really kind of scary, now that I am. I start by unbuttoning her blouse and slipping it off her shoulders. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say this, but her boobs don't look as big as they do when they're in her clothes. I think they like downsized her for this picture. Her figure is curvier than I expected. What do you mean? That's the exact opposite of what I just said. And compliments her cute face. She is very cute right here, and just her face. Her bra unhooks in the back, and I have trouble getting it off, partly because Misha seems ashamed of her breasts. Okay, and half-heartedly tries to cover them up before I've ever done it. I undone it. When I unlatch her skirt and start pulling down her panties, she offers more moments of weak, fake resistance, and it's just a formality. I realize now that formalities are very important to Misha. That's why she always greets everyone so happily, even when she probably isn't happy to see them. Her eyes are open now, and I end up running my hand inside her thigh, almost laughing when she shudders and nearly crushes it when she tightens her legs. A genuine reaction, and a cute one. Shizune was better at hiding her inexperience, even though she was just as embarrassed. Are you ready? She nods without looking at me. Oh, she looks so sad. Oh, I hate this. As I push myself into her, I can feel becoming more rigid with nervousness, which I start to feel as soon as I meet resistance inside her. This is terrible. I feel so tense that every time I move, it's painfully mechanical. I clicked off. I wonder if I should go more quickly like Shizune did, but Shizune is pretty forward. It's a different situation now, one I regret getting myself into. I start pushing in slowly, and Misha winces in pain. Please, do it quickly. Ow. I hate this. I stop. No, it's okay. And then I push myself even deeper into her, to the hilt. This is so uncomfortable, feeling Misha's hands clasp at my arms, then reach higher as if she's trying to climb them. Grabbing my shoulder, she pulls herself against me, joining us more tightly together, and I can't do anything but push back. This is so creepy. Hearing her moans, I speed up and find a rhythm. Her hands grip each other around my back, and I feel her elbows digging into the space in my ribs. I piston into her. Piston into her? Ugh. The blood pounds in my ears like a beating of a drum. I can barely hear her. Are we gonna... Oh, bro. This is like the bad ending. This would be so funny if we just fuck until we have a heart attack. Like, on her. And then we... I don't know if... I don't want to say we die, but, like, that's, like, the bad ending. That'd be crazy. This is my first time with a man. Oh, shit. She said with a man. That means she has done it with a girl. It's weird. Oh, is she like actually gay, but she thought she was bi, but she's like trying us as like a man thing to see? That'd be interesting also. I wish she would stop talking. Her voice is so quiet and breathy that I have trouble understanding her, but the tone of sadness permeating it is unmistakable. It only makes me feel guiltier. I'm supposed to be comforting her, but it's entirely physical, and if Misha is being reassured in any way by this, she isn't showing it. That makes me question whether my decision was the right one. It's not, my man. I am really starting to doubt it. Despite that, her soft cooing in my ears makes me keep going, as does the hot, slick tightness around my member. Eventually, her leg twisting around mine, she tenses in an orgasm, her soothed neck rubbing against my cheek. It takes her a minute to separate herself from me. It gives me an opportunity to see her body fully, her pink skin blushing in the right and dabbed with sweat. I feel cold. Hichan? Or am I right? Are we gonna have a heart attack? I can't hear anything but the ticking of the clock and the sound of my own breathing. Never mind, Hichan. I search around for Misha's hand with my own and caress it. How light and delicate it seems, even as it's grabbing me so tightly around my wrist. That feeling is familiar. Wow. I hated that. That was bad. That felt terrible. That felt terrible to do. Which is a shame because physically I would say that Misha's probably the cutest character. But Jesus. The following morning I wake up thinking that most of my time is going to be spent trying to avoid Shizune and Misha. What happened the evening? Is that still the same? On auto mode, skip mode. Yeah. Okay. Wait, sorry, I don't want auto mode on, but it's there. It's strange that I should be running from the thought of having to talk to Shizune after spending so much time just to do that. But I can't think of any other way I should feel. I had sex with her best friend. And if I feel this way about it, I wonder how Misha must feel. Just as regretful? When she came on to me, she was more depressed than sexy to start with. Yeah, bro, maybe that wasn't the right decision. Maybe you should have just talked to her. I can only imagine how much worse it should be now. Thinking about it like that, I want to see her again, but only half-heartedly. The other half of me is still terrified, even though I hate to use that word. It makes me feel ashamed, but I'm sure it's the only way to describe myself right now. It's not a good feeling. I spend the next couple of periods in the library, not in the mood to sit in classes for the rest of the day, but unwilling to walk back to the dorms. Well, I'm lazily flipping through the pages of an uninteresting story fiction novel. Did this already happen? Yeah. This is really sad, and I don't know how to feel. Okay, so now we're getting her to confess her feelings about Shizune. So, I already did though, so I'm still the worst kind of person. I was thinking that would be better if Hichan had never come to this school. I was thinking, would it just be better if I just died? After all, I've even done something really terrible now. Unforgivably terrible. Misha presses herself harder against the fence in the back as if hoping to slip right through it. Don't be stupid. I'm surprised by my tone of voice. Sorry. I realized I hate it when I'm left feeling regretful over anything. Even so, it's impossible for me not to end up regretting something. Yesterday, I did a stupid thing. That's probably part of the reason why I'm here right now. So I could figure out how, if I could maybe make it right somehow. You ever feel that way? You said you've done some terrible things. You can try fixing them. Hey-chan, isn't that... I know what she's thinking. I know that she's thinking that I'm saying this for me more than her. No, it's not. I just think that killing yourself is the biggest regret a person could end up with. Hey-chan, you're so dramatic. Whether she was serious, I'll never know, but I don't ever try to find out. As she lets out a sigh and closes her eyes as if to sleep, I feel that's the most dangerous mood I was picking up from her as past. The door behind us opens, only able to see the ambient breeze. Okay. It's not a trick, I promise. It will be something fun. Misha contrasts that genial smile on Shizune's face with a lonely expression of her own. If Misha is really jealous of me for stealing Shizune away from her, then it'd only make it worse if the three of us were together. I imagine it'd be like rubbing salt in an open wound, so I get the idea to let them spend time together. Okay. I'm not so idealistic that I think a single afternoon to themselves will solve everything, but it might help. It seems the better option than going with them, because my presence definitely wouldn't help at all. You two go have fun then. I'm gonna go to bed early. Are you sure? It's barely past lunch. I told you, I don't feel too good today. I think I'm coming down with something. I thought you said excuses like that won't work. She has me there. But it's okay. But refusing someone's invitation is rude. I'll expect you to make up to it. Up to me. She then turns around and smiles at Misha and starts signing something that I can't see. I assume it's along the lines of, it looks like it's just going to be the two of us. That's good. Oh, is it ending right now? Like this? Oh, we're still getting to the... We still go to chapter 4. Oh my. Oh, I wonder what happens now. So it is like Rins, where it's like a different story. Everything's the same. I don't remember what this was, but is this like me returning the books? And then do we also fuck Shizune? That'd be crazy. The toast points? I remember the toast points. What if it's like the same thing? What if the ending is just the same, but we fucked Misha and we know it, and we feel bad about it the whole time? That'd be insane. See, there's the big man. Okay. That was the last time we saw him, too. That's kind of crazy. There's a train in my background. I don't know if you could hear that. I live near a train. There's Spot, the main character. Oh my god, that's a loud train. Nope. The next day, Misha is back in class, although still looking pretty sullen. Not that I was expecting her to magically feel better, though it would be asking the impossible considering what happened. This time, Shizune, who's out. At first, it almost makes me laugh that suddenly whenever one is in class, the other isn't. But thinking about it, there's nothing funny at all about it. In fact, I find it hard to concentrate on my work because of it. It could be that she's just sick, or she could just simply be skipping class. It could also be something more serious, and I'm tempted to ask Misha if she knows, but I end up doing nothing. I don't regret stepping in yesterday, scared that Misha would do something rash. That was yesterday. But now I feel I should give her some space. Eventually, the bell rings and Misha gets up for lunch along with everyone else. I decide to eat lunch in an empty classroom today. Not just this one. Unfortunately, a lot of other students seem to have the same idea, so there aren't a whole lot of empty classrooms to go around. Finally, I'm able to give up on the idea. I find a dark one at the end of the hall. Lily. On turning on the lights, however, I find out that this one isn't empty either. Lily's head turns in my direction, oh yeah, I forgot. I thought she was deaf too. I was like, why is she turning? Which freaks me out before I realized she'd probably heard me flipping the light switch. Hello. Hey, Lily. I didn't think anyone else would be in here. Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, but you probably knew that already. I turn to leave, which prompts Lily to quickly speak up. You don't have to leave so quickly. We can both have lunch in the same room. As a matter of fact, I would prefer to eat with someone else. I'm about to ask her how she knew I was here to eat lunch. I brushed it aside. It's lunchtime, dumbass. What? It's just simple common sense, and I don't want to seem too easily impressed. I take a seat at the desk in front of Lily after reversing its face to hers. I've heard that our minds fill in a lot when we see based on remembering seeing it once before, our expectations. Mostly for efficiency is not to process everything to look at individually. Lily never seems to stop to question any noise, so I wonder, is it because her mind is filling context every time, or because she does not care just to sort of accept things as they fall into place? What if we just go on a run and like fuck every girl in the school now that we fucked Misha? That would be a crazy, like, the chaos run. On her desk there are just a few cookies and a thermos of tea. She must be one of those light lunch types. I bite into my sandwich. Some of the ingredients even spill out at the back end. We haven't spoken in such a long time. I'm surprised that you still remember my name. You must be very busy in the student council. It's different every week. Some weeks are pretty slow. Some weeks I consider taking a sick day. Hold on, Lily. I need a second to catch my breath before inhaling that sandwich. How's it been lately? Unpredictable. I snap my fingers, which from her facial expression upsets her a lot. I think that you've been hanging around with those two too much. I guess it's because it's one of Shizune's trademarks. Personally, I like it. I ignore it. Her tone doesn't change even slightly. Oh, I changed her tone, my bad. But Lily's mood has obviously dipped. Doesn't seem like it would be easy to. I've been trying to figure out how she can make it so loud, but I think I'm damaging my knuckles. Even if it were loud enough to break the windows, I would ignore it. I'm not a trained seal. I have that luxury. Are you still mad about that? I ask the question as carefully and diplomatically as possible, although in the end I'm only asking to satisfy my curiosity. No, of course not, although I don't like Shizune. We were in the student council together for a brief time. I heard. I wish you hadn't been so quick to join. I don't like that way Shizune runs the student council. Did you know that she's scared off most of the old members? That's why I think she tries to surround herself with people who don't oppose her. And they don't. It's a dependency bubble. I'm sure that Shizune is aware of what Lily's saying. After all, I can remember her specifically denying it a couple of times, which I'd always thought was strange. They say that the more specific a denial is, the more likely it is that the allegations are true. In this case, I think I disagree. Shizune is the only one subject on which her opinion could be called less than objective. Did you tell her that? Very often. Lily stops to polish off the last of her tea. I'm running behind him and finishing my own lunch and taking advantage of the pause to eat as much as possible. All of her friends are related to the student council, like Misha. I heard things are touchy between her and Misha. Did they have a fight? Not really. Is that so? Either way, there's no point in attempting to force them to make up. Always try to confront everything head-on is what Shizune would do. But it doesn't work in the real world. At some point, it's just being stubborn, not bravery or good intentions. There's a little general, don't you think? That's a little general. I suppose. What do you think is the best to have with tea? Cookies or scones? I like both in different ways I couldn't possibly choose. I don't like people who constantly force me to pick sides or want to turn everything into a contest. When I joined the student council, I thought it would just mean helping everything run smoothly and helping people out, like being the class representative. Instead, every day consisted of having Shizune stomp around, using Misha like a megaphone to talk about how we had to outdo the last student council and create more and more events, make them increasingly larger. But then the two of you basically want the same thing, and all that's... but then the two of you basically want the same thing. All that stuff makes things exciting. I didn't really get it at first, but then it's not the same ego project. People like fireworks and soba huts, candied apples, and dress-up days, or whatever. The more the student council does, the more responsibility the school gives us. It means extra work, but in a way, it also means more freedom. You have to pull to do things and organize a big festival, and then they'll think you're capable enough to handle it instead of rejecting it instantly. Anyway, I want to do that. I want that too, now. It's got its share of pointless busy work, but there are moments that I think that make it worth it when everything comes together. It gives me something to do. If I were to just go to school a day in, day out, I think I'd explode. I think Yamaku is much more easygoing than other schools. Yamaku isn't other schools, though. I start slipping into another familiar mentality. In some ways, it's almost too easygoing. And if I were a different person, I'm sure that I would find how easygoing it was to be stifling, though in any other school, such easiness would have been just the normal flow of life. But here, the uneventfulness would be compounded. It would feel different because I'm not a normal person after all. I'd be reminded of it every time I heard the blood beating in my temples. I'd feel patronized and weak, and my bitterness would only grow. Yeah, sure. The point is, I think I understand what it's all about now. You're really giving Shizune too much of a hard time. That might be true, but when it comes to how she treats individual people, she doesn't do it very well. Unfortunately, that one is a lot harder to argue. Do you have the time? I'd like to go to class 10 minutes before the bell. Then you're right on time if you go now. Excusing herself, Lily leaves, and I sit listening to the click of her cane on the floor, fading into the mumble of other students having conversations in the classrooms in the hall. I feel exhausted and completely forget I wanted to talk to Shizune today. Man, that's tough.